We are recording the interview of George Portteus. This interview is being conducted by Katie Bradshaw from the Wright State University Veteran Voices Project. Also in attendance is Daryl Crabb. This interview is being recorded at George Portteus's home in Mason, Ohio. It is 10:18 a.m. on February 12th, 2020. Thank you for joining us for an interview, George.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to tell us about when and where you were born?
Yeah. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1938. And Dad was with the railroad, Missouri Pacific. So we were all over the country. Lincoln, Nebraska, and Kentucky, and Arkansas twice, and two places in Arkansas, and then Cleveland, and then here.
So kind of like military, you grew up moving around.
Yeah, we moved. Dad was only in Lincoln, Nebraska for 9 months, Just.
So did you go through a lot of different school systems growing up then?
Yeah. Cleveland school system was interesting because they decided that coming from Arkansas schools I was undereducated or whatever, and they put me back a half a year. So when we moved to Cincinnati, they didn't have half-year schools, so I had to go back another half year. But it worked. They had a system up there in the 40s where you could go to school from October to June, or if you had a late birthday, you could start in January and go to June, then be off for 3 months and go from October to January.
That's interesting.
It was a weird system. I don't know whether they have that anymore or not.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. It would seem like it would be difficult for a child to start mid-year and catch up.
Right. But
it's interesting.
That's the way they were.
So then where did you graduate high school?
Right here in Indian Hill, up the road.
So did your parents retire in this area then?
Yes, and moved back to Arkansas. And then Mom went blind, so they came back. Mm-hmm.
And did they live with you or just in the area?
They lived in Pleasant Ridge. They rented an apartment in Pleasant Ridge, sold a house in Arkansas.
Okay. How many siblings did you have?
I have a sister and a brother. My sister's 10 years older than I am, and my brother's 7.
So you're the baby of the family?
Yeah, probably a mistake.
Probably a wonderful surprise. What, do you have any childhood memories you would like to share of maybe with your siblings that were lots of fun?
No, because when we moved here from Cleveland, my sister had gotten married, and she was already expecting, and my brother was going to Ohio University, so I was basically an only child when we moved to Cincinnati. That would have been in 1950. Oh.
Okay. Were you in any sports or interests?
No, I wasn't. I decided to go to work when I was 14.
Where did you work?
I worked at a TV repair shop. We don't repair TVs anymore. We throw them away.
A useful skill at the time, though.
It was. And then he paid 25 cents an hour. Big bucks.
What was minimum wage at the time? Was it?
Oh, I don't know that there was a minimum wage.
Oh, okay. But at 14, that was big money.
Sure, because then I went to work at Cincinnati Millicron in the then called Cincinnati Milling Machine, and I think they were paying $1.40 an hour for trainees. I graduated 4,000 hours of training with them. Then went in the Army, came back and went back to work for them.
Okay,
And stayed for 17 more years.
Okay, so leading up to your military service, you had mentioned before that your brother was also in the service.
Yes.
So I assume he joined first since he's older than you.
Yes, he went in 53.
Okay, and which branch?
He was in the Army.
In the Army. What was your brother's job?
Infantry.
Infantry. You mentioned college. Was he an officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He graduated from Ohio University, and when he graduated, they gave him a regular Army commission, which was the same as coming out of West Point.
Good.
Yeah.
So how did you decide that you would join the Army as well?
Well, I'd been going to the university over here in Cincinnati, and at the end of 3 years, they decided that I wasn't qualified to go to college. So they asked me to depart, and I knew I was 22, 21, and I knew Uncle Sam was going to be coming.
Yeah.
I'd only been deferred because I was going to school. And so I said, oh, I think I better do something. So a friend said, hey, let's go in the Army. I said, hey, that's a great idea. So we went down to Norwood and signed up. And never regretted it. It was a good experience.
Good. So you and a friend went together and signed up.
Yeah, we signed up. And however, I don't know, he wound up in Korea with me.
Okay.
And then he got married and wound up having 6 children, and he couldn't afford 6 children on a E3 pay. So
oh boy.
They gave him a hardship discharge. But, I said, well, he did it to himself.
How did you end up with your career field? Did you choose it? Or was it maybe assigned in boot camp? Or how did that happen?
I enlisted for ASA, and then I had the option of whatever schools they had. So I went to the signal school in Fort Gordon, Georgia, and became a comm center specialist. A lot of the guys went to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, where they trained some of the other MOSs. And of course, some of the fellows, I guess, went to the Army Language School out in California because there were some fellows who spoke Korean. In fact, you probably interviewed one of them. Oh boy. Oh, time flies.
When you completed your basic training and your technical training, were you assigned to another base at that point, or you went straight to Korea?
No, I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia for 8 weeks. I came home for a week, gave Carol a ring, and went off to Korea.
Okay.
It was a rough
That's a tough
13
goodbye.
months. And we've been married 56 years.
How did you meet your wife?
After I didn't have a job, and so I had worked at McAlpin's department store before, and the store manager in Kenwood was just a great guy. And so I went to see him one day. He said, well, how do you fare with the military? And I said, could be gone any day. And he said, well, I have a nephew like that. You can come work for me. And I was there maybe 2.5, 3 months. Met Carol. We were together for approximately a month before I went in the Army. And a week before I went to Korea. And 2 weeks before we got married.
That's a pretty quick engagement.
Yeah. Long, but yeah.
But time together was kind of brief in between, huh?
In between, yeah.
Yeah.
We went off to Vindhill Farm Station, which was in Warrenton, Virginia, outside Washington. No longer there. Just down the road we had two places. We had one, Arlington Hall Station, and they seemed to give strange names to places, because that was Vindhill Farm Station, which was outside of Washington, and we had Two Rock Ranch in California.
Those are interesting, aren't they?
Yeah. Thank you.
So backing up to Korea, so you
Yes.
gave Carol the ring,
Uh-huh.
and she said yes,
She did.
and you headed off to Korea
For 13 months.
for 13 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that goodbye was pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
how did you stay in communication while you were away?
By letter. She wrote me every day.
Aw. Would she mail them in packages, or you'd get a letter almost
No,
every day?
every day.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
How did you pass your time when you were in Korea then? Because we've heard various stories from, the good food and the things to do.
Well, not too much, because actually I went as a comm center specialist. There were 4 of us that graduated from school at the same time. And when we got to the 508th group in Seoul, they said, what do we need you people for? So, I got an idea he had. He said, the 226 needs a company clerk. And because you're a comm center specialist and can type, we'll send 2 of you up there. They only need 1, but we'll send 2. And we went up there, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. So I shuttled between the orderly room down in headquarters and did some work up in operations and back and forth. So Captain Russell V. Smith was the company commander at that time. Really super guy. Super guy.
When you say he was a super guy, what was he, just real supportive and helpful, or?
Laid back. Come in his tennis outfit. Wanna go up and play some tennis? No, I don't play tennis.
From the folks that we've talked to who went to the island in Korea, they really enjoyed their time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The 13 months went boom, really fast.
Do you have any memories that stand out of your time there that you'd like to share?
Just when the estuary froze over and the island was between the mainland probably a half a mile across the estuary to North Korea, actually. And it was when that froze over in the winter, it was difficult because there was no bridge at that time. There's a bridge now, and we'd come just on landing craft back and forth to the island.
Okay, is that a boat?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So the water wasn't frozen, you were still able to pass through the water?
Yeah, most of the time, but when it really got bad, we had to go to the south end of the island, and it was I'll refer to it as a mike boat, LCM, landing craft medium, and would hold 2 deuce and a half, 3 jeeps. We weren't allowed to use the Korean ferry. You had to use, they had one too. And, yeah.
Is that how some folks would travel who were working on the island, housekeeping and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff?
They would have to come over on the Korean ferry,
Okay.
and then only the military. Yeah.
Okay.
No indigenous personnel in military vehicles.
Okay. Did you enjoy the food while you were there?
It was okay.
It was okay?
Sure. Yeah. We had a mess sergeant. Ringneck pheasant were quite a lot of them. And he went out and shot a couple for Thanksgiving. And we had pheasant that year.
That's creative.
Yeah. Yeah. They it was no, the food was good.
Did you have any time for like R&R while you were there? To come back or to take a weekend away or something?
No, no. I was thinking about when my brother was there, he went to, I believe, Thailand. And I could have gone, but had to be accompanied by an officer, captain, or above. There was only one, the company commander, and he wasn't going anywhere. So.
During your time in Korea, did you communicate with your brother? Did you guys stay in contact while he was serving?
No. No.
Did you communicate back with your parents?
No.
Okay, so maybe
Just with Carol.
Your fiance was letting them know you're still okay?
Yeah. No, they, no, I didn't communicate with my brother, and we don't communicate.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
He doesn't ask me anything. I don't ask him anything. Just
went separate ways. Yeah.
We were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, how about, you mentioned a holiday, you mentioned Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
How was Christmas while you were in Korea?
Honestly, I don't remember. I'll tell you what I do remember. I was listening by shortwave radio to the final 2 in the March Madness. UC had won it, I believe, 60 and 61, and they were playing Loyola of Chicago. We're never in the Final 4, Final 2. Haven't been since.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm listening to it by shortwave radio, and UC was up by 1, I think. And Loyola had the ball. And it was just seconds left. And the radio went, shh. And I went,
oh, no.
So I had to wait till Stars and Stripes came out to see who won the basketball game.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Gave you something to look forward to, huh?
Especially when I found out they lost. That would have been the 3rd year in a row.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So when did you know the date you would return when you left, or did it kind of come at some point and they said, "Hey, your departure day is"?
Yeah, well, they gave you a date when I'd be going, and have a short timers calendar with mark off the days. But it was and we went down to Seoul to come home on May 1st. And I says, man, this is not a good day. May 1st in the communist world is, and here you're riding in an open vehicle. I said, I could just see somebody. No, that wouldn't be good. May 1st in the communist world is a big holiday.
Okay.
And I said, oh man, riding in the back of an open truck. Oh.
So you had some anxiety traveling.
Yeah. Thought about it. Let's put it that way. But nothing happened. And we were quarantined for 7 days and caught the ship back 17 days.
Oh, you traveled by ship.
Both ways.
Okay. How were the accommodations
Sure.
on the ship?
Excuse me? Accommodations?
Okay.
Well, let's see. There were 5 or 6 high. You know, yeah. No, I'm in a cargo hold with a bunch of cots
Okay.
hanging up. Hammocks, I guess you'd call
Not
them.
ideal.
No, but you just stay up on deck. It's just, there's nothing to do down there, so, yeah.
Did you enjoy that experience being at sea?
Not particularly.
No.
I wouldn't have made a good Navy man. No, mm-mm. No, that's not my thing. Carol's dad was in the Navy in World War II, and he was on a ship, I think he said, with Perry Como was the barber on their ship.
Was that an actor?
Perry Como?
Perry Como.
Yes, he's a singer.
A singer. Okay. I
Died
know his name.
some years ago.
Okay.
Very mellow singer, kind of like a Frank Sinatra, you know. Come out of that era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Today you can't understand what they're saying because got the mic.
Or they're talking real fast, or
Yeah, or real loud.
Yeah,
Or the
background music.
music's loud so you can understand that the guy can't sing to begin with.
So they got to cover it with the music. Okay, well, so then you came home.
Mm-hmm.
Were you still on active duty?
Yes.
So then what happened once you arrived home?
We got married, moved to Vint Hill Farms in Warrenton, Virginia. And yeah, I still had 16 months to go. Yeah, 16 months to go, and they offered me E6 if I would re-enlist. And I thought about it hard. That was a good deal. And but Carol wanted to come home. She says, you can go do whatever you want, but I'm going home. She was only just turned 21 when we got married, so she wasn't all that excited about being. But we met friends in Virginia, and we visited them this past summer.
Oh, wow, you've stayed in contact all
yeah.
these years.
Oh, yeah, all 55 years or whatever it is, 56 years. In fact, we were married on June 15th. They were married on June 22nd. So we celebrated our 50th wedding anniversaries together down in North Carolina.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He's since passed, but we were down there this summer, and we try to get down there at least every other summer. She's not capable of traveling, and he passed on, so yeah. It's, we stay in contact. She calls once a week to see how Carol's doing, and yeah, they've been good friends for a long time.
It seems in the military it's common that you connect with a few folks along the way that become like family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. Not a lot of them. I couldn't give you the names of too many people. I don't know any of the guys in the Congo vets. Nobody was there at the same period that I was. I was communicating with a fellow over in Maryland. He passed on, as they do. Yep. And I'll be 81, so I'm getting ready to check out too.
Oh no, you seem very lively. You've got a couple more decades in you.
Well, spent 2 stints in the hospital last year. Still paying those bills.
So once you came back and you made the decision not to take the E6.
Right.
So you came back to
Cincinnati.
the Cincinnati area.
And went back to work for Cincinnati Milling Machine, Cincinnati Millicron.
Now, how had that changed in the time that you'd been gone?
It hadn't changed.
So you jumped back in. What kind of duties did you have there? Was it was repair work or building?
Project engineer.
Project
Millicron.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would your work day look like doing that?
7:30 to 4:42.
Okay. So you did that for 17 more years.
Right.
And then what'd you do after that?
In 82, I left there and went to work for Belcan Engineering Services out in Blue Ash. And I was there for 8 or 9 years, worked for projects on P&G and Eli Lilly and Rolls Royce and projects like that. And left there 88, 89. Haven't done much since.
Well, those sound like some fun projects.
They were. Pampers and Loves and jet engines for Rolls Royce.
All kinds of stuff. Jet engines to diapers.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
What that must have been fun, having a chance to learn a new area.
Yeah.
So in 89 then you basically retired.
I did work, I taught driving for a little while until the kid totaled a car and I quit. And I knew somebody at Speedway gas station and said, "Oh, I need an assistant manager. How would you like that job?" And I said, "Okay." The problem with assistant managers in retail like that is they get all the dirty work, all the weekends, all the
No shows.
Yeah. So I did that for a couple of years, and no, this is no good.
Now, did Carol stay home and keep track of the family, or did she work?
No. She worked. She worked at the Church of the Nazarene on Taylorsville Road.
Okay.
She was in there. She was a preschool and daycare teacher, all alternating. And she was there 17 or 18 years and just quit here I guess she was 70, something like that.
So she loves children.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Really misses those kids.
Yeah.
She said she wished she hadn't quit when she did, because she misses the kids.
That's a very special gift to have.
Yeah.
What? So we had talked earlier, and you said you had a daughter.
Yes.
What year was your daughter born?
1970, June 5th.
Okay, and you were here in the Cincinnati area.
Yes, we were.
And what?
She was adopted.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that process happen for you?
Well, Carol had been quite ill. She was 26 years old, and she developed an ectopic pregnancy, and had a lot of surgeries, and so the likelihood of a conception was slim to none, so we adopted. And speaking of social workers, Carrie was probably 3, and the social worker came out. We were going back for a second, and she said, okay, I want to talk to you alone. Send her to her room. And that didn't set well. It didn't go well. And the social worker told us that we were denied because she acted too much like an only child. And we go, well,
Because she is.
she is up to this point. So we said, okay, we'll just spoil this one.
There you go. So when you got Carrie, is your daughter's name?
Uh-huh.
When you adopted Carrie, how old was she?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I imagine that was very exciting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she was born June 5th, and we got her on December 5th or 6th. And then 9 months later, it was finalized for the grand total of like $8. $1 for the birth certificate and $7 court costs or something. It was very minimal, for sure.
Did you receive a phone call and they said, like, maybe there's a child we would like to place
Yes,
with you?
yes, uh-huh.
How much notice did you have before she arrived at your home?
We went to the lady's house who had the child, had Carrie, and picked her up. And that
Said
was
we're
it.
just going to take her.
That was it. And the social worker called later. Everything going okay? Yep. Well, it wasn't exactly, you know. I was on the phone with her, and Carrie was crying. Carol's taking her over, shutting doors. Because he said, you know, if this doesn't work, you'll have to do this in and out, in and out, in and out. I said, no. She comes here, it's over.
Yeah. She's family, right?
So it worked out. She graduated from Marymount High School in 1988,
Okay.
and she worked for Skyline Chili.
Okay.
Been with them for I don't know how many years. Years and years and years.
Is she still in the area?
Yes, she lives in Price Hill,
Okay.
which is, I know you're from Dayton. It'd be the west side of town.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice that she's still local.
Oh, yeah. It's about 29, 30 miles over to her house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there
Right straight.
grandchildren then?
Yes. A grandson who's just turned 21 and a granddaughter who's 19.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he works for UPS right now, but he'll be leaving that job because he's going to electrician's school. And she works, Maria, the granddaughter, works for Cincinnati Public Schools. So, she's doing well.
Yeah. So how do you pass your time? Do you golf? Do you have hobbies?
I go. No. Like I said, I was out of the hospital twice last year. So that pretty well took up last year. Yeah.
I guess that's how life goes sometimes, huh?
Yeah. The older you get, the worse it gets.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you've got a beautiful community here. It sounds like you've got some good neighbors.
Yeah. There aren't many young people in here. Couple over here, mid-50s, mid-60s. Most of the people, I would say, are 70 and up.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be a retirement community. It just turned out that way.
I think it's a perfect setting for a retirement community, though.
Yeah. Carol is hospitality chairman, and she has a Valentine luncheon on Friday. So she and another woman are putting it all together. I think this is the third annual. We try to have potluck dinners every month, but it's the same 14 people out of 100 that show up. So
Yeah.
kind of backed off on that.
Yeah. That's probably pretty common that would happen.
Yeah. There was more, and then as people moved on, and the new people came in, they just, it's like one of the fellows said, I didn't move here to make friends, I moved here to be left alone. Okay, whatever, we'll leave you alone. But, yep.
Well, can you think of anything we didn't cover that you'd like to talk about?
No, I can't think of a thing.
All right. No
Can't think of a thing.
stories that come to mind that would be real interesting?
No.
Well, how about if I have you tell the story of the photo sitting next to you?
Okay. That was taken in Kongwa on Kongwa Do. And went to have it taken at a photographic studio. And they sat me down, posed me, closed all the blinds. It was pitch black, and whew, off went the flash powder. And I was rather startled because I didn't know anybody still used that stuff. But it turned out to be a pretty good picture.
It's a very nice photo.
I took it because you can't hardly see the mustache. I was growing a mustache at the time. And
you wanted to have the
'cause
mustache
when I went-
captured?
yeah, I was sending it home to Carol. When I went in basic training, they march everybody to the barber shop. The sergeant says, "You, sit down, your hair's too short now." That's the way I wore my hair, even in high school. I mean, it was cropped like this. I just didn't have a lot of hair.
So you didn't have to get your hair cut in basic
I
training?
didn't have to get my hair cut. It was already too short, according to him.
I bet that's a rare occasion.
Yeah, probably the first time he'd ever seen anybody come in whose hair was already too short.
I imagine so.
Yeah, but it turned out to be good. And the thing that bothers me about that frame is my daughter gave me the frame, you see, and it's really supposed to be this way.
I like that though, because if a flag is hanging on the wall, it will be hanging that way.
No,
I've
No,
seen
it wasn't.
some.
that's the way they cover a casket.
Oh,
So when you turn the field of stars is over the heart. Ooh, but I keep it that way.
it looks nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
No, I don't know another thing.
All right, final question for you.
I have a final question. Answer.
A final answer?
Yes.
Okay. What advice would you give to future generations?
We need more people in the military.
Why?
We do. Why? Well, people just, I don't know. If we had to raise an army like we did in World War II, all these people that have to have 5 and 6 and 7 bedroom houses, what are they going to do? They're not going to join up. It would, I think we need, we're straining our military now. We're trying to maintain it all over the world, and it's a little much. I say, join up. It won't kill you.
Do you think
Wait a minute, let me rephrase that. No, that wasn't. I didn't mean to say that.
Do you mean as far as the discipline, the value of the discipline that the military provides?
Right. Oh yeah. Never hurts. Somebody was trying to get our grandson to join the Navy. I said, no. He'd be in the brig the first week. You know what? When a man looks at you and calls you all kinds of names, I don't think he could take it.
He might surprise you.
He might. I don't know.
Yeah, generations change
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah. So do climates.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And it's not all global warming.
Probably a mixture.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it's a cycle. That's why we don't have any dinosaurs anymore.
Thankfully.
It's a cycle.
All right. Well, thank you
Okay.
so much for your time.
Thank you.
This concludes our interview with George Portteus. Thank you for your time and thank you for your military service.
Thank you.